But it's just like I felt like I watched a ton of basketball, and I don't know, like I feel like I don't know anything about like half of the series that are going on in the NBA.
Yeah. All right. I got to pee real quick. But yeah, I feel the same.
Sup, dog?
How's it going?
Doing well, man.
Me too. My recording device seems to be working, so
on too. We're already on the YouTube live.
Dude, it's like starting to get borderline pathetic how good I've gotten again at Tiger Woods PGA Tour. I'm playing the 14 version now, dude, which I hear is like one of the easier ones out there, but I'm like consistently shooting in the high 50s, which is pretty fucking absurd.
You want to hear something hilarious? Went over to see my brother the other day, and he tore his calf muscle running.
Holy balls. What did he do?
Just running. Just had jogging. Like literally nothing. He just didn't stretch well enough. Tore his calf muscle, so his calf's like black and blue. And so I go over to see him like the week before the Masters, and he is sitting just leg propped up, ready to roll, playing Cyber Tiger on the PlayStation 1, and was like 16 under going into like hole 15.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, there aren't like many things in my life anymore where I'm like, I don't care who you are, come at me. Like, I don't fucking care. But Tiger Woods is definitely one of those places. Like, I've met very few people in my life so far where I'm like, that cat can throw down more than I can on a Tiger Woods machine.
Well, that's something to hang your hat on, big dog.
I mean, do you have video games like that in your life? I mean, I felt that way about NHL for a while. Like,
and then Phil came along and wrecked your world.
Yeah, okay, but you guys were playing some bullshit like newer age NHL, dude, and like on dude, if you put me on NHL 14 on a 360, I don't think there's anyone in the world who can beat me. I think I'm number one.
That's a very, 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 very bold statement.
In a 7-game series?
That's a ridiculously bold statement.
Well, yeah. I know what we're doing. I see you next time.
Dude, I'm not even sure that I have that game anymore, but I really hope
we literally have one other person on this podcast who thinks that he can beat you, and you're saying you're better than the whole world.
Yeah, and also like Mac. Okay, has Mac beaten me before? 100%. Has he beaten me a lot? Yes, but do I think that lifetime I'm ahead of Mac? Absolutely. I think that in the game, dude, we played a fuck ton of NHL when we lived together.
I know. Which one was that? It wasn't 14 though. Which one was that?
Yeah, it was. It was 14.
Yeah, 14. I still have a 360 copy of 14. I might have your 360 copy of 14, Andrew.
No, I mean I still have one, but we used to play online. I'm pretty sure. Like, dude, there was a time where we just got fucking so good at NHL 14, dude, and that's like sort of like a random game to get good at. And then we got to that point like where we were just cliche motherfuckers and we were playing FIFA all the time. I've sort of
we got really fucking scary good at FIFA.
There was a time where like no one should have been playing with like Barcelona or Real Madrid. It was just too much firepower to skill.
It was
when we were living over in Wellington, I had 2 Italian roommates, and like the first time that I realized that we had FIFA in the house, it was FIFA 13, which is what we used to play back in your room sophomore year, I think, and those dudes were just like, oh, we're going to wreck this dude. He's an American. And we're just like, what the hell? And I was like, dude, I'm fresh off 4 years of American university. This is all we do.
Dude, yeah. The right bumper, man. I used to piss Mac off so much with some of the angles that I would shoot from, dude. It was crazy, man. The right bumper on some of those like 13, 14, 15 FIFA games were crazy. And then once you got like before FIFA 13, you could just put through balls through to everyone. Like, I remember that original FIFA World Cup, you could win games like 50-4 because all you would do is put through balls through to your striker the entire game. And usually that striker was Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and that guy's still scoring ridiculous fucking goals. So what does that say?
You're welcome, Los Angeles. That's what that says.
Yeah.
Dude, he might be my favorite. He might currently be above Russell Westbrook on like my personal power rankings for favorite athletes.
Yeah, he's up there.
You love you some Russ, dude.
Dude, did you see what he wore to game 1? It was incredible, man. He wore a suit with no shirt.
It was
does
ridiculous.
That? And it looked awesome. It looked
Russell
amazing,
Westbrook
dude.
does that.
Have you had a chance yet to look through that 82 flavors of Russell article?
Yes, it's phenomenal.
It's incredible. Listeners, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but there's an article right now on ESPN about all 82 outfits that Russell Westbrook wore to the 82 regular season games this season.
Oh my God. That sounds amazing.
It's phenomenal.
It's impossible for me to decide which is my favorite, man. Every single outfit is my favorite. They're all incredible. And Matt, the coolest thing about it is they range from like outfits that cost $40 to outfits that cost 40 grand.
Jeez.
Like there's that big of a range in his wardrobe. It's incredible.
I'm checking it out later.
It's an amazing art. I'm sorry. It's an amazing article, dude. Check it out for sure. Will Mosley is proud of the fact that he is a 24-year-old man who drinks Capri Sun. Say hello, Will Mosley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? And if any of the execs out there at Capri Sun are listening, feel free to throw a sponsorship our way. I'll talk well about these people at any time.
Which flavor is that?
And thirst quenching.
This is fruit punch.
So not only are you drinking Capri Sun, but you're drinking like the most OG, old, washed up flavor of it possible.
Damn right.
Excuse me, I forgot we're trying to get a sponsorship from Capri Sun. Your beverage isn't washed up, it's just it's dusty, dude. It's got some dust on the bottle at this point.
Big pouch or bust.
That's the sound of happiness.
I have to imagine that the cashier gives you a very strange look when you go up with a full, bold mustache and buy a fuck ton of Capri Sun.
Yeah, once a week they do look at me weird when I buy 2 packs of Capri Sun.
Dude, I feel like if I had 2 of those per day, I would be on such a sugar high. It would be fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Dude, I'm not even kidding when I say I'm not sure that I've had a Capri Sun in 15 years. I'm not even kidding you. Mac, how long has it been since you had a Capri Sun?
15, I'll be 10 years old. Yeah, probably 15 years.
That's what I'm saying, man. Put it up on the poll at _ the Nosebleeds. Do you like Capri Sun? So how's this sponsorship? How's this sponsorship idea still working out for you, Mosley? Am I talking too much shit right now? Do I need to shut up?
I don't know, man. You can come at them all you want. They're a delicious beverage, quite refreshing, great for kids, great for the whole family.
Right, and I mean that's just the perfect way to sum up this podcast, right? Great for kids, great for the whole family.
Yeah.
So anyway, my name is Andrew Levin, people, and this is From the Nosebleeds podcast. The man who's giggling with a Columbus Blue Jackets sweater on in the background, that would be our producer, Mac Young. Mac, say hello.
How we doing, people?
Mr. Young is getting ready to attend Game 4 of the Blue Jackets series tonight. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for that right now?
I'm close to a 10 as you can get.
I mean,
I'm excited.
I think me and Mosley may just stay on air after you leave. Max may have to cut out a little early tonight. We're not sure yet, but he'll be attending Game 4 tonight. Me and Mosley may just stay on to sort of like live talk shit about you as you like go. I imagine, is traffic bad in Columbus? Like, how does that work? The game's at 7:30 and you're with us till 6:30.
Oh, it'll be pretty bad. I'll get there like right at 7:30, walk through the door, and then get to my seat.
Which is where precisely, Mac?
Oh, the very last row, but I got in the middle. Section 205, row, I think double Q. So we're right at the top. My head is on the back of the stadium, but I'm in there.
I did notice the other night when I was watching Game 3, like that arena it may be larger than it looks on TV, but it doesn't look all that big.
It's pretty big.
It is?
Yeah.
Well, It's sort of hard to tell, man. All I know is that those cannons, that may be like one of the worst post-goal traditions in the NHL. Like firing off those douchey, like revolutionary cannons. And it's like, dude, what
We're
is
like the Blue Jackets. Like you have, I don't know. They had to get into it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. They had to have something. And dude, you already have a song that's pretty good. Like you don't have the worst post-goal song in the NHL, which is
No.
another great topic that we should get into at some point. What definitely won't be tonight because this is an unbelievably interesting time in the sports calendar. And so instead of hitting rapid fire at the end of the show, we're going to do it right now and see what we land on. So, Will Mosley, what's on your mind, man?
So, my mind, well, a little bit of breaking news. Joel Embiid is gone from doubtful to probable, and that means that your Sixers are going to destroy your Heat tonight if that dude plays.
I don't know.
Put him in a body bag.
It's always excellent to sort of exist in a place as a fan where no matter who wins, you win. Because, I mean, that's just sort of the life that I'm trying to create for myself, period, dude.
It's my man. You got
it's my
you got 30 great teams that you can cheer for. It's awesome. Your Warriors play your Spurs tonight. Going to probably go for the 3-0 lead. It's going to be awesome and terrible for you at the same time with that, Kawhi being in New York, just chilling.
Absolutely, man. And we're still sort of just waiting on my Golden Knights now, dude. As we just wait and play blackjack and drink free shitty rum and cokes at the MGM lobby bar.
Your Golden Knights, I mean, Stanley Cup favorites, question mark?
Dude, I did see today that they posted as a co-favorite, right? I mean, that's pretty ridiculous to think about.
With Nashville, right?
I would assume it would be Nashville, man. I mean, it's going to be so hard.
Of the bracket.
But, dude, just to think like that any team is going to go to Nashville and win once, let alone maybe have to do it twice, is really hard for me to believe. But it's amazing, dude. It's so impressive what they've done this year, and it sort of defies logic. Like, there's no precedent really for an expansion team doing this well. And, I know LA sort of, limped to the finish line this year, but, they still swept a pretty decent hockey team and a team that's won a few cups, over the past 6 or 7 years. And so very impressive, dude. I think that we just need to keep an eye continually on this Vegas home ice advantage, dude. And I'm excited to keep watching them. That's for sure. Certainly excited for Mac tonight, though, man. So, what's your feelings about tonight's game?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, it could go. I mean, it could go one of two ways, obviously. But
wow, thank you. Yes, you're correct.
Brilliant analysis.
Well, I think the best part about this series so far is that it's gone into 3 overtimes, and both teams no team is like one team has had one better period than the other, maybe, but it's never been an overall like one team has just played better and only scored really up there. It's been a fun series to watch. It's been fun because Boss is standing on his head when the defense isn't playing too well. Then you get the counter strike when Artemi Panarin just dangles through everyone and tries to do everything by himself. And then you have a really strong Caps team who just that first line is just scary good.
It's like fantasy hockey, dude. I saw the other night during Game 3 that they had a power play. It was something like Ovechkin, Carlson, Backstrom, Kuznetsov, and
just ridiculous. And Orpik. It's just like, what the hell? It's like them and the Penguins have just scary first line, scary power play. It's yeah.
Have you ever been to a live NHL playoff game before?
I've not. I've been to a like a final season, like the last home game a couple years ago for the Blue Jackets when they clinched the playoffs, and that was pretty exciting. Cool. But I've never been to a playoff game, so I'm pretty stoked about tonight.
No, man, you should be. It'll be electric. It sounded unbelievably loud during Game 3, and I would say, dude, like I'm not sure that there's a better live sports atmosphere than playoff, like NHL playoff hockey. I think that it's just
such a fast sport. It's probably the fastest sport one of the fastest sports in the world. It's just so much
It's
fun
so
to watch.
fast, man. And I think like the thing that I love most about hockey, especially this time of year, is just like it's like watching momentum happen in front of you. And there's
Exactly.
no like the NBA can get that way at points because it's a game of runs, and Mosley can probably speak to that more than I can. But there's something about playoff hockey where it's just like it's the momentum is so fluid. It's so fast how it happens, and you can see it happen right in front of you. And there's something that's just really captivating about that.
I'd say there's something to the difference between the two, with timeouts in basketball obviously being a huge difference, I feel, because you use those timeouts as a way to cut other teams' runs a lot more in basketball, I feel. And with hockey,
and
I don't know, when I'm watching it, it can flow at timeouts, but also you'll just see like a big hit just shifts how like a team's playing or something, and you can just see a change in how it's doing. Or like I sat down at the beginning of the Pens Flyers game last night for dinner and literally sat down, looked at the menu for like 10 minutes and turned around, and I felt like it was 3-0. And just they were just beating the hell out of them.
They look, I mean, I'm glad you got to that too, Will, because it's like they look so good last night, man. And I don't know, like it's interesting. Like when we talk about these things, it's always a little bit of a situation. Like, was it more about Pittsburgh dominating or Philadelphia really laying an egg? And I think it's sort of always like difficult to differentiate, or sometimes it can be. But last night, man, I mean, Pittsburgh beat the fucking doors off Philadelphia.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And then how about your Cavaliers, Mac Young?
I mean, I can speak to as much as I can, but I have not watched either game due to other conflicts.
Dude. What?
Yeah.
What?
I had other things going on, but I did watch some highlights today, and I mean, LeBron going on a 16-1 run to start the game off, just taking the game in his own hands, and then the rest of the Cavs just shitting the bed, just not playing well. Kevin Love with possibly another broken hand. Even though MRI came back, but like he's hobbling around. It's just they just don't look consistent. They don't look great, and it's the East. The East looks so wide open right now. I have no idea from watching the games I've watched. Have no idea who's going to make the finals. It is it's going to be a fun. Even though the Western Conference is more stacked with players, it's gonna be fun to watch what happens in the East.
I mean, dude, I know you say that the door is wide open now, but I think that by the end of tonight, like that shit could close pretty fucking tight, dude. Like with Embiid coming back, dude, like
I think that keeps Hassan Whiteside like in the game. Like now,
I would hope it would get him in the game. Jesus, he hasn't been in the game.
He's played like 6 minutes. That's exactly what I just said.
I would hope he gets in there.
Dude, Whiteside has been an incredible liability. Like in terms of what Brett Brown's trying to do, the more that they can keep Whiteside in the game, probably the better, dude. He's looked so bad these first two games.
I know. He hasn't had a
staggering. It's staggering that he is a max player. Based on what he has looked like the last two games, it is incredible that he's a max contract guy. It really is. And I mean, Will Mosley, like I would ask you this: have we gotten to a point where LeBron James is so good at basketball that he's actually like playing out this story so that he can leave right in front of our eyes, dude? Because how perfect is this script so far? Lose game one in the first round, which is something that you've never done before. Have your coach come out and call you out for not being aggressive enough. Go on a 16 to whatever fucking run to start the game. Win the game by 3. You're the reason they win. Moving on to game 3.
I think he would have rather won game 1. Like I see where you're going. I think that I would say it's probably a publicity stunt, like for Ty Lue to call him out like that and for him to respond in the way he did. Like I think that was kind of storybook written by the media. I don't think that it was really what inspired LeBron to go on that 16-1 run. I see what you mean. It plays out like that. I just still feel like he's a competitor. And at the end of the day, if he could have ended his career and been like, I've never lost a game 1, series 1 ever, he would have rather done that than like had this story.
Yeah, but also he
needs every historical record that he can get in the Michael versus LeBron argument. And so I feel like being able to say something like I've taken every first round series, I've never lost a game one, stuff like that. When Michael's lost in the first round times, like I think that would be something that he would rather have than to just be able to say like I put the team on my back this year. I think him putting the team on his back in that first quarter showed that he's going to have to score 40 a game. Like he really is. If they're going to win, if they're going to make it to the finals, he's going to have to score 40 and average like 40, 15, and like 9 and like 15 assists, because there is no one on that team that can do anything, man. Like their starting lineup last night was completely different than like we've seen at the end of the season. And then they came in with that lineup and it looked like a lineup that they had from last year. Minus Tristan Thompson, who obviously has 0 minutes because whatever is going on with his life.
And then you have all those new acquisitions. You have all those new acquisitions that come in and only have like a few points here, a few points there. When they're not expecting to get 20 points, but they contribute, man. And they weren't. None of those guys played well last night. So we'll see.
I mean, they played better than game one. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
I mean, are we at a point then where you trust Philadelphia more than you do Cleveland moving forward?
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, trust as in I have faith in what I think that they will do. Yes. But that's because I think like I had always planned on 76ers. Like towards the end of the season, I felt like they were going to lose in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Cavs. So I have very much confidence that they can get at least there, if not farther. But I don't have faith in the Cavs getting as far as I think that they will. I think that they'll still probably beat Toronto. Like if they get by Indiana, I just don't like DeRozan on LeBron as a matchup. He shuts him down every time. DeRozan can only shoot twos, so he can't get inside on LeBron like he does on most people. And I just feel like that's a lockdown every time.
What an incredible point that we've gotten to, though. Have we been at that point at any point in 8 years where there's another team in the Eastern Conference that you trust more than the team that has LeBron James on it?
No, but I mean, come on. Like dynasties don't last forever. I mean, like Kobe and Shaq didn't have it. Kobe by himself didn't have it. I mean, like they had the 3 and the 2, but in between they got booted out of the playoffs early. I mean, you haven't seen like a true dynasty since like Celtics and then Celtics Lakers when they split it back in the 80s. But I mean,
Warriors,
like getting there. I mean, Warriors they're getting on it, but I mean, we're talking about them having a shot to lose to Houston. Like a week ago, we were talking about if they drew the Jazz in the first round, they could lose if Steph was out. Like we can't put them on dynasty level when they have 2 titles. Like, yeah, they had 3 straight finals appearances. If they make it this year, I think definitely if they win it, obviously. But I mean, I think if they lose to the like Houston in the conference finals, like that's a great 3-year run. Is it better than like the Heat's 4-year run?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know the answer to that question. I just think it's interesting to sort of note that this is the first time in a really long time that there is like a significant reason to doubt the team that has LeBron on it. And that is worth noting for sure.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how the rest of the East plays out, especially tonight with 76ers Heat going on. I think we could end up with some really interesting games coming down the stretch in the East leading up to a terrible finals of the West just dominating in the finals. But I think that doesn't mean that we're not going to get some good basketball along the way.
That was fine. We can either wrap where I stopped and Mojo went, or where.
My bad. I was looking up and wasn't looking at you when you said that.
That's the beauty of the podcast, dude. Doesn't hurt at all. All right. So yeah, I mean, at this point, just wherever you guys sort of want to go next, I'm gonna get up and go piss real quick.
I think we got to talk about. I mean, not have to. I would like to talk about Terry Rozier and
Yes.
that.
We need to fix this fucking.
I don't know how to do that. I mean, what to do. Yeah, it would be cool because I've used more and more of this YouTube Live audio because it just sounds better and it's easier for me than going through everyone's voices.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how we could get this done.
Fuck, sorry.
I wonder.
Testing.
Build. Okay, there's got to be a reason why you and I have it.
And then Andrew picks up everyone else's voices on his audio, which is also weird.
I don't know. I've never heard of echo on.
No. When I'm doing the audio, he's the only one that records everyone. Well, I just hear your voice on yours, and just hear my voice on mine. But his, I hear.
I think it's something with his headphones.
I don't know. I mean, he has the same headphones as I do.
Hey, LeBron James Puppet just tweeted, here's a stat I didn't see coming. LeBron James is 4 steals away from passing Scottie Pippen for most in NBA playoff history.
Did you see that Scottie Pippen's farm got robbed for like $50,000 worth of like tractor equipment?
No, but tell me about it.
Yeah, I just did, man.
Okay.
Scottie Pippen.
That's it. That's all you got on. That's all you got for me. All right.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, I didn't do a ton of sports work on it, but damn, dude. Yeah. All right. So, where you guys want to go?
Okay, hold on.
We're trying to fix this echo.
Yeah, and Mac and Us have echoes regularly. Yours just echoed for a second when you were just like talking right there on through my headphones, but I don't know. I'm trying to. Andrew.
What up?
Can you try turning? I think that the one possibility is it's coming through your headphones somehow back into your speaker. Can you try to turn the volume down like into your earbuds, as soft as you can until you can hear us? Just like click it down on the headphones as low as you can until like you can barely hear us, and we'll see if the echo keeps going.
I'm at a point now where I can just barely hear you.
All right.
Barely hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Holy shit, that worked.
Fucking right. All right. Turn yourself up like a couple clicks.
Where's too loud?
Well, there it went.
I can hear you.
Dude, we're good.
Better. It's not great, but I can hear you better.
All right.
You can turn up a little bit more, but I think we're that's the problem.
Mac, did you also turn yours down?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder whose it was coming from, since both of y'all did it at the same time. Andrew, you mind turning yours all the way up? Matt, keep yours down for a second, and let's talk through it and just see. I just want to know where it is.
There it is.
All right. Yep.
I got mine on max right now. Now I'm going back down.
Just stay in the middle range. I think we're good.
All right. Sweet.
Give me some sign if it gets bad again.
Will do. Yeah, I don't hear it anymore, so sounds good to me. Give me a second here.
Andrew, can you talk again?
What's up, man? I'm talking currently.
Okay, yeah, we're good.
That you are. I hear a very slight echo. but it's not
It's on
to the
yours.
point where it's distracting me. So I'm good.
You hear my phone ringing right now?
Yeah, I mean a little bit.
Very barely.
Will, can you turn
Check,
yours
check.
down?
Yeah, I mean mine's down, and also my mic's like away from my headphones.
That's better. For some, I still get you every once in a while, but that was
Yeah. I don't know.
Matt.
It's doing it through one of our headphones, but as long as we keep the volume down a little bit or something, I think we'll be able to handle it.
The yodeler from Coachella. Are you in on him or out on him, Mac?
Oh man, I just think that craze is amazing.
Are you talking about the little Walmart kid?
Yeah, dude, the little Walmart kid who did his song at Coachella and has had. If you go on I went on his Twitter, and he has multiple like concerts at different Indiana WalMarts.
We should do a live cast there, simulcast.
Yeah, we should do a Walmart podcast.
I hate
Will,
Walmart.
are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm looking through something.
Sometimes you sit so still that it's difficult to tell if you've timed out or if you're still there. Which is actually exactly the point where I'm bringing us back into the podcast. Well, Mosley, you're not a very mobile human.
Nah, man. I don't know. If I'm moving, I'm moving. But if I'm set, then yeah, man. I don't want to waste any energy. It seems excessive.
Your spirit animal definitely isn't a tortoise because that
Sloth.
would sound mean. That would sound mean.
No, mine's a sloth.
Okay, it's definitely not a leopard.
Trust me, I've done that research. I've done that inner soul searching.
Mac, do you have an animal in mind? Do you have a spirit animal?
I don't think I do.
Well, damn, dude, that's got to be your
I think
summer
of Mac
homework
as
right
a
there.
koala because he has that bushy face now, and I don't know. He just his demeanor is very high, like even when he's not high.
Dude, we should start a From the Nosebleeds podcast GoFundMe to send Mac somewhere in Mexico to trip peyote and find his spirit animal.
That sounds amazing.
Because that's an effective use of podcast resources right there.
Yeah, that's
please.
Yeah, that's going on Twitter now.
That's going on Twitter right now.
So you people who could be listening to this, yes, you can go on @ the Nosebleeds at Twitter, and you can try to donate to our GoFundMe that we're going to create for Mac to be able to find a spirit animal. He's always wanted to do. And yeah, let's get him out there, guys.
So we all know that.
Do you have one? Real quick.
What? Fuck yeah, I got one, dude. I would say a beluga whale or an elephant, dude. I really like beluga whales. I always have since I was little. I don't know if you've been to the Atlanta Zoo before, but it's fucking incredible, and I highly recommend it. But at the Atlanta Zoo, they have beluga whales, and right when the zoo, what the fuck am I saying? The Atlanta Aquarium, my apologies. But yeah, anyway, they got beluga whales there, and I became obsessed with them when I went as a kid and saw them. And then I just think elephants are really fucking cool, dude. I actually got this big-ass painting of an elephant behind me currently. I think they're dope, man. I think they're cool animals. So, yeah, I would say those two. Mac, I think you're probably, like, I think you're the weirdo for not having one in 2018, dude. I feel like we're definitely – at least our generation, dude, we're more in touch with our spirit animals for sure.
Spirit animals. I was gonna say bear, but we'll move on.
What type of bear? See, that's the problem there. It's like you can say bear, but like what type of bear are you talking? Black bear, brown bear, grizzly?
But black bear.
I kind of see you as like a little bear.
Yeah.
A cub, if you will.
Yeah.
No, I mean like Little Bear from the television show on Nickelodeon.
Oh, you mean like you see him as the animated bear?
Nickelodeon.
Fuck you guys for not getting that joke originally. It would have been a lot more funny had you let it sit there for a few seconds and not gotten super confused by it. You got to understand my 90s references. Because that's the sort of up-to-date like podcast that I'm trying to have here.
Yeah,
My
let's drop
references
those.
are on point. But Mac Young, we all know you'll be watching Game 4 tonight. Columbus Blue Jackets, Washington Capitals. Will Mosley, what will you be watching on TV?
I want to definitely turn on 76ers Heat. I want to see if Joel comes back full strength. But really, I'm trying to watch the Pelicans just go up 3-0 on the Trailblazers, and the Trailblazers to have nothing to answer Anthony Davis, and he goes off again. Rondo's playoff Rondo, and the Trailblazers get swept in just a thing of glory.
I mean, Anthony Davis is a man, dude. Is that the number one thing we've learned so far in the playoffs this year?
He doesn't need anyone.
Like, he is a fucking G. He's a baller, straight up.
Yeah, no, he's unstoppable.
So, like, what else do you take away, though, Will? You're a big NBA guy. What's your big thing so far from the playoffs?
I mean, I'm amazed by like the split with Kawhi and Pop. That's honestly, it's a not on the court thing that's really popped off at the beginning of this playoffs. I mean, obviously, like I said, the Pelicans hopping up 2-0 on McCollum and Dame, and taking both games at home like that after the Trailblazers ended the season so hot. That was incredible, obviously. But the fact that Kawhi is not even sitting on the bench, like you can't rehab in Oakland. Like, you can't rehab in San Antonio. You got to rehab in New York. Like, and for Pop to be saying those things about like his group, and then like praising LaMarcus Aldridge after last year he wanted to get rid of LaMarcus Aldridge, is just ridiculous.
I mean, it's a fascinating situation, man. Like, I think the thing that's always interesting for me to note with things like this is like, dude, is this the end for the Spurs? Like, is this sort of how it ends? Because I think if you like look back historically, there aren't a lot of great dynasties where like things like this didn't happen at the end, dude. Popovich isn't just gonna win the title and then go off, man. And you know, I know there's like no comfortable way to do this, but obviously, like, condolences to him and his family, dude. That's like a serious loss with his wife yesterday, and you know, certainly can't imagine the emotions that family's going through currently. But obviously, all the best to Greg Popovich, and certainly someone who's respected more than most in that community. And so, you know, obviously very cool to see all the support and outreach. I thought the video yesterday of Kevin Durant sort of in real time finding out and then getting really emotional.
There was a few of those that came out.
Quite telling about, you know, how much respect that community has for Greg Popovich, and obviously, you know, our condolences go out to him and his family. But you know, and then again, no delicate way to really transition back into the point that I want to make, which is that this seems like the way that most of these dynasties come to an end. And I think it's like, I would expect something similar to happen in New England eventually, man. I certain players the wrong way, and I think it's easy to sort of see how a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who is absolutely a superstar, you know, could sort of get frustrated with that sort of Spurs first culture.
I mean, I think it's a serious playing out of something that a lot of people still are in denial of, that it's going to happen. But, I mean, just think about it real quick. Close your eyes. It's 2018. There's a head coach of a dynasty. He's having friction between his best player during the offseason and during the season. It seems like things are deteriorating, possibly at the end of an era. Open your eyes. Is it Bill Belichick or Greg Popovich? Both of them. Like, and both of those I kind of feel the same way about. It's like, it could be the end next year, but until it is the end, because they've proven they're just going to do it for so long, I'm not going to call it the end till it's the end, you know? Like, it's just one of those things, like LeBron making the East. It's like, I don't know, but to be honest, until I see it, I don't think that I'm ever going to just bet against him. Like, even in these first two games, it's just something I'm not going to bet against. So with those two guys, it's like, yeah, I believe there's frustration between him or Bill and Brady I think there's frustration, obviously, between Pop and Kawhi. Do I think we could see him somehow mend this relationship in the offseason, turn around and like recruit LeBron, and then they run it back for a championship? That wouldn't surprise me.
Sure.
Like, at the same time, we are at a point, though, where it wouldn't surprise me if Kawhi left. I kind of expect that, and I do expect them to go through some problems. But, I mean, if Pop decides to stay there and keep coaching, I think he's still one of the best basketball minds, along with Brad Stevens and some of the other guys up there now. And I think that he, like you said, with the Kevin Durant video, you can tell, like, the respect that he has from players around the league. And while Kawhi has had problems with him, and you say, like, this could be the end of a generation, the players who are there and playing kind of are on the same page with him. Like, they're not being like, oh, he needs to lay off of Kawhi or anything. Like, they're all in on why isn't he here? Why isn't he playing with us? Everybody says that he should be fine. Why isn't he out here? And, I mean, like, I thought it was something when they still had a chance of missing the playoffs, I was like, yeah, don't come back. I think they should have missed the playoffs. If he wasn't going to come back, but obviously they don't know because he should be healthy. And so, yeah, it could be the end of a dynasty. It could be Pop mishandling a situation. And on the same hand, it could just be Kawhi not being straight up, and Kawhi moves out. They draft another great player. He runs it back with some great talent, recruits somebody to come in, and is still the number 2 seed in the West for the next 4 years.
I have a question for, I guess, either of you, whoever has the answer to it. But when's the last time we heard anything from Kawhi's mouth? Or at least someone close to him. I just feel like he's, as far as what I've been listening to and whatever, I just haven't heard anything from, like, the Lion's Head. Like, where is he at?
I don't know if I've ever heard Kawhi speak. Like, I don't know if he's ever said a single word, Mac. I think that's when it stopped, is when he was like born. He was probably like
for sure.
better at the game of basketball than everyone else, and he was just like, well, I don't have to talk anymore. I'll just play basketball.
Yeah, but like the last thing that we heard out of his camp was, I guess, last week, right? That he was returning to New York to rehab, which was sort of like the last nail in the coffin that there wasn't going to be a chance that he was going to return to play in the playoffs. And I mean, Will, you're saying that there's been indications that Kawhi is at a point medically where he's cleared to play, and I guess I would ask you, like, where are those indications coming from? Because that wasn't I guess I understand.
So all of the Spurs doctors have cleared him to play by his injury. All of the doctors that they've reached out and tried to get as third parties have cleared him to play. It is his camp has doctors that are recommending that he's not fully, that it's not what these doctors think it is, that it's something else that could deteriorate further if he keeps playing on it and like cause him further damage, and he needs to rehab and not be playing.
Sure.
But he's way past the point of anyone else who's had similar injuries. I mean, like, we've seen Tony Parker come out and obviously say, like, my injury was 30 times worse than this, and I was back and playing. And I mean, like, that's ridiculous to try to compare the two. But I mean, in a sense, he did have a similar injury, came back, and it just does seem that like a guy who was so in shape, not injury prone, dominant. You usually see players fighting to get in, and the owners and the coaches have to hold them back and like save them from themselves almost. And it's weird to see the opposite situation in basketball, at least, where the team's like, no, you're cleared to go. Like, we're ready for you to come back. And the player's like, nah, I know that we're making the playoffs. Like, if Kawhi was on the Spurs, would we really be giving them a chance to win the finals this year? Because I would.
So if you were a Spurs fan, which I know you're not, you would be upset at Kawhi.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, that's interesting simply because I mean,
not upset at Kawhi.
Smart,
I mean, if he's truly taking care of his body, he needs to rehab, and that should be definitely the number one thing on him. He shouldn't come back. I think that there's faults on both sides. I think Pop's maybe handled it like a little tough in the media than he usually does. He has a lot more tact than this, I think. And it's weird seeing him act like that in the media with one of his players that he holds in such high regard, which maybe this shows that he doesn't hold Kawhi in that high of regard compared to Tim Duncan and Ginobili and like these other guys he's won with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Kawhi is like one of the top 3 players in the league when he's playing, but I do think there's some questions with not answering things, not being present. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if you're hurt or not. You can rehab in Golden State and sit on the bench with your team. I think that's messed up, and I think that Pop's a little messed up for how he handled it. There's faults on both sides, but at this point, I definitely think that we're gonna see Kawhi in a different jersey probably next year.
So you think they're going to trade him, right? Because he's got 1 more year on.
I think he forces a trade. I think he forces a trade or tells him he's just going to walk after that, and so the Spurs are smart enough to trade him.
It's crazy to think that. It's crazy to think that he's been rehabbing for so long, and he's never on the sideline. Every other player that gets hurt is on the sideline.
Yeah,
and he's like the only one that's like not.
What could you trade off the Sixers right now to plug Kawhi into the Robert Covington role?
Oh God, man!
Like, what could you convince Pop to take? You know, Pop would be in love with like Saric.
Come on! You have to. This is the thing that's unbelievable to me about how we do Philadelphia now, dude. These guys like Ilyasova and Saric, like they're not new NBA players. Will, like it's not like they just show like they're brilliant players in Philadelphia, dude. Like put Ilyasova in Milwaukee, and I don't think he's the same. Ben Simmons is a freak of nature. They're all benefiting from that.
They're obviously benefiting from that, but I mean, Saric is a good player. Last year, he was putting up good numbers. I mean, Saric is a good player to have around. He could be someone that I think Pop could work into an offense and use his skills.
You're talking about trading Kawhi Leonard.
Not straight up, obviously, dude. You're going to have to do picks. You're going to have to do I don't know. What if they get the #1 overall pick from the Lakers this year? They have the Lakers pick, and the Lakers have odds to get the lottery for the #1.
That's insane.
That goes straight to the Sixers. Or the Sixers. If it's the #1 pick, it goes to the Sixers. If it's 2 through 5, it goes to the Celtics. And if it's 6 through 10, it goes to the Sixers.
That is unbelievably good management. Every single time that we talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, I feel worse and worse for Sam Hinkie, dude. Seriously. He was so right, man. He was so right. And I know that Will Mosley absolutely does not want to get into the tanking conversation again, and that's fine. But that guy was fucking right, Will.
No, he was right. He was right in a time that idea was perfect to have because people weren't thinking about it. It was a new idea. The problem with the NBA now is we have a great playoffs going on right now, and we also have like 10 teams that were tanking at the end of the year because they saw what Sam Hinkie did building this playoff contender and possible championship contender. And then everyone else is trying to copy him, and I just feel like it's going to be flooded, and we're going to just see a shit ton of terrible teams for a couple years, and we're going to see the teams that are in the playoffs are going to be great, and everyone else that's not in the playoffs is going to be trying to tank for a lottery pick.
But hasn't it been that way for 10 years now?
Not every team. I feel like you've seen teams fighting for the 8 and 9 seeds or like the 7 and 8 seeds a lot more than this year. I mean, dude, we had legitimately 10 teams who were trying to catch the #1 overall draft like odds this year.
Yeah. But again, like that's good management. And again,
it's good management except for when you're tanking to a point where like the Sacramento Kings tanked and they're the 4th worst team just in the West, man. Like you don't have very good odds at one of those top 3 picks, man. Like, that's terrible. Like you can't. The Brooklyn Nets tanked this year and were the 4th worst team in the East.
Well, yeah, but dude, if there's anything that we can ever agree on definitively, it's that it's terrible to be associated with the Sacramento Kings in any way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah, no, that's a rough look.
Yeah.
I mean, Sacramento, that's in terms of places to play in the NBA, organizationally, management-wise, just about at the bottom of the list, right?
I would say just right above New York.
And dude, I just can't believe we haven't gotten to the most important NBA story of all, which is, of course, Chloe and Tristan. Will Mosley, your thoughts? Next.
Yep.
Okay, we'll cut your yep at the end there.
I was about to say I didn't realize you were yepping on like that was your next. My bad.
What?
I was very confused on what that was. I was legitimately trying to like figure out an answer to his question, and I was like,
I had
"Why would
no
he?"
answers. I was lost as well. I was like, I don't know what to say on that.
I mean, I like that cut, but I just wasn't ready for it.
All right, Eric.
What?
Eric or Drew Bledsoe? I at least want to bring that up. Like this.
Oh, dude, I definitely want to bring it up. I mean,
What do we do?
Uh-oh. I didn't get any of that, Mac.
I was about to say you're sketching out.
What do you guys have next?
Hold on, I'm looking.
Friends getting married and how unbelievably fucking depressing that is. Will Mosley, your thoughts?
I don't know. It doesn't really bother me.
Who's getting married?
Brandon Graham in July.
Oh.
Are you going up Friday?
I'll be there both nights, dude. We got a cabin and shit. We're about to do it big.
Wait, what?
Me and Kat got a cabin, so we'll be there both nights. We're not like doing a hotel because it's like in the mountains.
Yeah. No, we were just gonna do the hotel that like they did their like booking under and everything.
Has your invitation showed up yet?
No, they haven't sent out their formal invitations yet, have they?
How do you know about hotel blocks then?
Because when they go on you know the fucking
They have a website.
yeah, they have a website that's on the back of the card that they send you, the save the date card. So go on that website and you register, like you RSVP online.
Fuck, dude, I'm not sure that I did that yet.
No, it's okay because they haven't sent out their formal invitations yet. Like Mason just told me about that. I RSVP'd like 2 days ago. But no, in that like message and everything, she was
you
like,
booked a room at the hotel though?
All right. Not yet.
Shit, I gotta get on that, man.
Yeah, I haven't booked the room. I don't know. On their website, they have like a hotel that's like they have rooms blocked off for like $96 a night or something. So I was just gonna grab a room in that hotel, go up Friday, and I think we're gonna make it to the rehearsal dinner.
Mac Young, your connection appears to be getting quite sketchy.
Okay.
I'm not sure how it's coming out on Will's end, but I know on my end it's pretty spotty.
Every now and then you'll freeze up.
I can hear you, but it's sort of like a weird, like in and out audio feed.
Let's see.
Oh, Andrew, were you referring to managers and coaches with the Reds manager?
Yeah, and then I couldn't remember the name of that guy in Phoenix who got fired 3 games into the season this year.
I don't know, but I tweeted out after you sent that in the group message when I like got on my phone. I tweeted out something in reference to like that. It was the MLB tweeted out that dude had gotten fired, and so I was just referencing that. So if you want to throw that in there,
Testing.
that is up on the Twitter. if you wanted to just mention it.
I just did a really shitty job at the start of the show today, like sticking to the rapid fire format. And so I brought it up, and then there was never really a chance to like go around the horn because we hit on a topic and stuck with it, which is fine. But I mean, I would say at this point we've probably done, like, what would you say, Mac? Like,
so we're around like 40 minutes or so.
Say like 37 or 38 minutes a show. And so, I mean, if you feel like you want to just hit a rapid fire and go around the horn and around, that's fine. Or we can do, like an 8 or 9 minute segment first. I just don't really have an idea in terms of like what you want to talk about.
All right, hold up. If we do rapid fire, I think we should come back and joke about the fact that we tried to do rapid fire at the beginning.
Oh,
obviously.
For sure. Yeah.
And then I don't know. We can each kind of like just say what we need to say on subjects. But I mean, Andrew, I don't know what you want to go with. I originally had thought about the Terry Rozier, Eric Bledsoe to talk about during the rapid fire, but if Mac, you want to go with that, I can figure something else out. Andrew, I think that fucking Gronk being able to ride a horse.
Oh, it's so funny, dude. It's so funny, man. Yeah, Mac, what's up?
Do we talk about that SoundCloud beef with from the Nosebleeds podcast?
That's funny, dude. We should talk about that. We absolutely should talk about. Okay, so we should do like 5 or 6 minutes on that. Then we'll break. We'll come back and hit rapid fire. Does that sound good to you, Will?
Yeah, hold up. Let me pull up their fucking page so I can trash them properly.
Great idea, Mac.
Yeah, I don't have much other sports things to talk about.
Yeah,
so I was trying to think of something.
I mean, rapid fire. Mac, do you want to do the Terry Rozier thing? I can try to find something else, or if you had something else you wanted to do, I'd do that.
I didn't really have. I don't have anything I can't think of anything other than those two things: the Gronk thing and then the Bledsoe Rozier. And that's fine too. I don't know. We can just do two things since we kind of had a semi-rapid fire at the beginning.
Well, I do like the idea of like kind of coming back and maybe even like at our last like 5 or 10 minutes, like doing a rapid fire and joking about the fact that we tried to do it at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's something that I think would be funny to like come back from and then joke about.
Okay.
After obviously this like shitting on from the Nosebleeds, because fuck them.
All right, let's hit on that then. I'm ready.
All right, we'll break for 5 seconds, and we'll bring it back. Hello, listeners. You are listening to From the Nosebleeds podcast, or at least for now. For now, Will Mosley, I can call it From the Nosebleeds podcast, right?
Well, I mean, technically, we're From the Nosebleeds sports podcast, which I know could get confusing for anyone who, has listened back to, our alien conversations and such in the past and could construe those as non-sports. But I want to be very clear. We are From the Nosebleeds sports podcast. We'd hate to step on any toes of these huge podcasts out there, who've already got these giant 14-person fan bases and have, their foot on the throat of the competition, man. So, we're double the episodes of some guys, but I don't know. They got that strong 14 listener fan base that's really scaring us right now. And of all things, man, they're talking about the most important subject in sports today. Tennessee Titans football, man.
I was about to ask you if there was a more mediocre team in professional sports over the last 15 years. Maybe the Miami Dolphins, maybe. But like in terms of, the Titans have got to be right there in terms of mediocrity, man. I mean, it's Eddie George and then who else? Eddie George, Kyle Van Den Bosch, who else?
Oh man, who was that? Who's the quarterback? Oh my God, that white quarterback who's just old as shit, who played for them forever, who ended up like taking Vince Young's job.
I don't know, man. That's the thing. I know so little about them, and I care so little about them. And so, anyway, Matt can probably explain the minutia of why this differentiation is important in terms of how you access us on SoundCloud. However, there's this other bullshit podcast called From the Nosebleeds that covered the Titans for like 2 fucking seconds. And so we're currently in the process now of trying to figure out how we can get our name back because it's our name. We are From the Nosebleeds podcast, right? I could say that without stepping anyone's toes legally.
It's ours.
They can come at us. If they have a problem, hit us up at @_the Nosebleeds.
That's what I'm saying, man. We could have like a sort of From the Nosebleeds civil war where the listeners could decide who is more deserving of it.
Back and forth. Let's get it.
I mean, dude, let's be honest. They had 4 fucking episodes, and the reason they probably had 4 was because you only need 4-hour episodes to cover the entire history of that stupid franchise.
You want to sum up the franchise history? Episode 1, Titans heartbreak.
Done, dude.
There you go.
Strike all right. At the goal line. You're short. You lose.
There you go.
And so, anyway, that's
the future of that team.
But this, for now, is From the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, correct, Mac? And if they want to access us on SoundCloud, that's how they would find it?
Yeah, unfortunately for now, while we resolve this debacle, that you have to search Sports Podcast and not just From the Nosebleeds Podcast. You have to type in the whole From the Nosebleeds Sports Podcast so we can, until we get this resolved.
But also, since we're of course, always down as a podcast to have other people do work for us. If you, the listener, know some of these people out there from the other alleged From the Nosebleeds podcast, you could get in touch with them and tell them to fuck off for us. That would be so helpful. Anything else, Will Mosley, other than fuck the Titans?
No, I mean, I have less against the Titans than I do this podcast, but I mean, Mariota's a fine quarterback. I mean, I feel like we might end up, for you future listeners out there, you might get a little excited, give you a little teaser maybe for a playoff football next year. Maybe the Titans squeak in. We cover a Tennessee game. I'll go up to a game and we'll do a little coverage from the game.
Because isn't that the NFL right there? Every fucking team thinks they have a chance to squeak in.
Yep.
How many teams in the NFL right now, Will Mosley, out of 32? Name a number. How many think they have a chance to squeak in next year? Over or under 25?
Right now, 32 of them think that.
Exactly.
So, right now, 32 teams think. 31 teams think that, and then there's a team in Cleveland.
Right. Do you think they're going to make some noise, though?
Cleveland? Are they going to make some noise? I don't know. They might be a hard out, though.
So anyway, we are, for now, From the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. Andrew Levin, Mac Young, Will Mosley. We'll be right back to hit on that rapid fire that we totally fucked up before. All right. Cut that laugh, but that was a fine short segment there. Okay.
I feel like you could almost fade that laugh into one of those fucking...
Mac, I think if the plan tomorrow is to hop on at some point to review the game with you, then I think what we should do is hit rapid fire here, indicate that you're heading out to the game, let you go first, and then just sort of voice you out for the rest, if that's cool with you. And then just
man, my internet's kind of shitty anyway, so I think that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Okay. One thing, guys, before we get into this, and then Mac, you head out. Would y'all be able to do later tomorrow instead of earlier, just because I'm running a 10K early on Saturday. So I might end up having my work shift switch between day and night. So I'd work till 4 again, and then have the rest of the night off.
I'm on break for 17 days starting tomorrow at noon.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll be ready at 5 again tomorrow if y'all would want to hop on and do the review then.
That sounds good to me. Anyway, Mac.
My brother comes in tomorrow, and I was supposed to pick him up for the airport at 5, but I'll see if my mom can do it.
All right. I mean, if your brother comes in and you wanted to do it later in the night, I'd be around on Friday night probably to be able to do it anytime Friday after 4.
Probably
Really.
be the best time for me if we're gonna do it.
Okay, yeah, then I'm cool with doing it at 5 tomorrow. I'll message y'all if I can't get those shifts switched around and we still need to do it around noonish. But I'm trying to get those shifts switched, so it should be 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
So we'll do the review then. We're gonna get into rapid fire now.
Yep.
Correct?
Yeah. So we'll break here. We'll come back. We'll hit Mac's thing, and then Mac will just sort of let you dip out into space. We'll get our recordings to you, and obviously have a good time tonight.
Man. I'm doing this year.
What are you going to talk about?
I'm doing the Bucks versus. I'm gonna do the Rozier.
Okay. All right. Well, that works. I'll just look at. All right, I got something.
Cool. Okay. So we'll break for 5 seconds and then bring it back. What's going on, listeners everywhere? It is just after 6 p.m. in the East, which means that our good friend Mac Young has to be heading out here in just a few moments to attend Game 4 of Columbus Blue Jackets Washington Capitals tonight. And so I guess we start here, Mac. Probably have some idea of who you think is going to win tonight, but Will Mosley, any opinion on the outcome of the game?
I'm going to go triple overtime. Blue Jackets take a 3-1 lead.
So it seems like it's going to be a really late night for Mac Young then. I like the Blue Jackets as well. Will be a good night for Mac. All the white people there in Columbus. That's a really fun game that I always enjoy playing at Columbus during Blue Jackets telecast, which is find the minority in the crowd. So Mac, you'll have to get back to us.
Hockey team in the NHL, we could probably do that.
Fair enough, but Mac, you'll have to get back to us on that tonight.
That's
so
fair.
we'll send Mac Young off into space here momentarily to go support the Blue Jackets tonight. But first and foremost, or first and last, I guess I should say, we'll get to the rapid fire segment that I totally botched early in the show. And so, Mac Young, your thoughts before you head off into terrible fucking traffic, or at least what I would assume would be.
Yeah, luckily I don't live too far away, so hopefully it doesn't take too long. But my rapid fire comment was going to be on the beef that is swirling around Terry Rozier and who knows what his name is. It could be Drew, it could be Eric Bledsoe on the boat. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this guy, Terry Rozier, is the backup point guard to Kyrie and has just torched Eric Bledsoe in these playoffs thus far. So it is. I don't know what you guys have watched, that he has made the comment of I don't know who the fuck is that? I don't know who this guy is, and then proceeded to just get blown out. So far, this series has been quite something to watch, and he has no there's no stance on him being able to say something like that. He is getting just destroyed.
He got cooked in the next week on that last second shot in the first game that should have been the game winner.
Incredible, dude. Incredible, right? And I know that we love to talk about Harden's crossover earlier this year, dude, and I have no idea why that play is not getting the same. I understand why it's not, because there was the excellent play literally 0.3 seconds after that. But dude, that was an unbelievable crossover. I mean, just
what was it though? Was it that unbelievable of a crossover, or was it truly Eric Bledsoe just go back and watch the video, because I thought it was dirty in real time too. I was like, oh my god, he just threw him off, and really it just looked like Eric Bledsoe just completely forgot how to play the game of basketball. I mean, Terry Rozier made a solid move, but he essentially just backed up, took a little 2-hop step towards him, and then cut back to his right, and Eric Bledsoe just got completely lost.
Dude, Bledsoe has been so bad these playoffs, Will Mosley.
Stupid. These playoffs?
He's been so bad. Yeah, and again, you know better than me, dude, but as someone who's watched more of Bledsoe over the past week than, of course, over the past 30 weeks beforehand, I mean, he's just been so bad these playoffs. Him and Whiteside.
He's done better in the... Yeah, I'm with Andrew on that, man. His season wasn't that bad. He earned a starting spot, at least. But yeah, he's pretty abysmal these playoffs.
Dude, I don't know. I just feel like everyone on that team is underachieving except for Giannis. And I mean, obviously that's probably a coaching issue with their change up in the middle of the season. But I mean,
at least they
the
gave
audacity to get cooked, absolutely cooked in the first two games by a guy who's not only playing out of his mind for really most point guards in the NBA who aren't like all-stars, and not only that, but he's a backup to one of the best point guards, period, in the NBA right now. And he's going out there and doing that stuff. And just because I feel like it was an honest mess up with the name from Rozier when he said Drew and I mean Eric, and he just kind of laughed it off. And then, I mean, for Eric Bledsoe to just be like that dismissive of the fact that he's gotten his shit wrecked by a backup point guard for the first two games of a playoff series, I mean, that's not a good look.
No, it's not a good look. But dude, in terms of like the coach, like what you're saying about the management issues and the coaching issues in Milwaukee this year, like at least they gave Jason Kidd half a fucking season. We have professional sports franchises out here now firing their fucking managers and coaches after less than 10% of the year. And forgive me for not remembering the name of that poor guy in Phoenix earlier this year who got fired after what I believe was 3 games. But Will, explain that to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm sure, obviously, there's something in those 3 games that you see that you just couldn't have been able to tell, a week before that going into the season.
Just like I've never, dude, like I don't know any other workplace in the entire world where like that's a reasonable thing that happens. And I know that there are plenty of people out there who are really shitty at their jobs. You're talking to someone who has been shitty at his job before, but I've just never. It's hard for me to sort of understand how you could have any sort of definitive idea of what's going. I just it's baffling to me, man. Was it the Reds manager?
Yeah, Reds managers got dumped like yesterday. I mean, it was something ridiculous, man. I mean, it's ridiculous that we're 2 weeks into a season and you're seeing coaches being fired. I mean, it's the David Fizdale argument with the NBA. I mean, it's the same thing kind of happened out there. I mean, there's no reason why David Fizdale should have like started the season if Memphis knew they were going to try to tank and didn't want him on like as their coach. There's just no reasoning for it. And so I find it extremely odd that if you already know what your team's going to look like at the beginning of the season, I feel like you know through off season whether this is your guy or not your guy. And to make it 10, 15, even 2, 3 games into the season and be like, well, this guy was a really good leader in the off season, but 3 games really showed us he's not going to cut it this season. Like that's just ridiculously terrible to like put on someone who we often forget are humans. Like they're people who are working, who have jobs and families, and I mean, I don't want to get too preachy on it because they are making a ridiculous amount of money, and there are people out there who need a lot of money and who need help and who are in bad situations, obviously. But just because there are people who are in worse situations doesn't mean uplifting a guy with his entire family who have kids who are like in schools. I mean, like people out there, like we all know what it's like to like necessarily have to move places as a kid and like figure out new things on the fly in new places. And I mean, that's happening to families when they shouldn't have to deal with that 3 games into a season. Like you should not be losing your job 3 games into a season when there's no reason that you should ever even like you can't tell that you have no more information 3 games into the season than you had before the season.
And think about like what a player in that locker room, or I guess in this case a clubhouse, thinks to themselves like about their own fucking performance when their manager's just been fucking canned after a terrible start. Like I just don't see like when you talk like I don't like Will, explain to me how any other successful organization in the world like instills confidence in its work base by firing them after that small of a sample size. I just think I don't understand it. I really don't. And it makes me angry, man. And I understand what you're saying about families and being uplifted. And that's obviously like, you know, that's a take on the situation that I guess that I hadn't considered because, you know, that's just, I guess not, you know, I don't really ever consider like some of those human aspects behind these stories, but I do struggle to understand. And like you said, I struggle to understand how any organization could find out something different in that short of a sample size that they didn't know in the off season.
Yeah, that's my big thing is let a guy go before the season. That's understandable. But to use a coach as a scapegoat and try to blame things on him, that's just a bit ridiculous. There's no reason for it at all. I mean, but you see that in bad organizations, poorly ran groups who have these problems year in and year out. You don't see it in places that have stable management, that have great success with coaches and players and managers all getting along and working well together and being transparent. And I kind of touched on it when we went to the Kawhi and Pop story, but this Belichick Brady thing, I mean, the NFL season's so far away, but it is very interesting, I think, seeing the developments. And I don't think that it says something that he's missing the first day OTAs. I don't think that matters at all. I think it's an interesting story, and I fall on the side of they're going to end up figuring out a way to draft Lamar Jackson. Tom Brady's going to play another 3 years. They're going to go to 3 more AFC championships. Lamar Jackson's going to come up when Brady steps down and just win another 8 titles.
Yeah. I mean, culturally, like, you sort of have to believe that he, as in Bill Belichick, has something up his sleeve that's sort of going to help make this situation right again. But Will, I mean, I would ask you this, like, they had Jimmy Garoppolo and look how Tom Brady treated him at the end. So, like, what makes you think that Tom Brady's going to be more amenable now to bringing in a guy like Lamar Jackson?
3 years of a difference. I think if Garoppolo joined the Patriots right now, like he joined them a couple years ago and was at that point and could work for the next 3 years under Brady, they probably keep him in that same situation. I think it's really a timing with Garoppolo is obviously ready to be an NFL quarterback right now. And I think Brady has 2 or 3 more years on him. Now, I think that all of the greats have – he's going to, just like Michael and just like everyone, like struggles between when do I stop playing. Like we see it with like all these great athletes. Like, when do I stop playing? What's the right time to walk out on the sunset? Very few people get like a Peyton-esque exit. But if anybody's going to get it, it's probably going to be Tom Brady. Like, he's probably going to lead an overtime comeback, and he's probably going to get a field goal kicked on him, and then like drive down the field, score a touchdown, and win a Super Bowl at the ripe age of 85.
Yeah, but yeah.
Like, I get you. I get what you're saying with, like, Garoppolo, why don't you just keep him? But I do feel like he is, while the greats struggle with that, they're also some of the greatest of the great are very self-aware of where they are in their abilities. And I think that right now he's still aware that he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And there's no reason for Garoppolo to take over for him. And I think if you would be drafting if you're talking about them moving up and getting a Rosen or a Darnold at the top of the draft or Josh Allen, I see what you mean, because those are more NFL ready quarterbacks. The knock on Lamar Jackson is he's not NFL ready. He needs to work. And I think that Lamar Jackson's the type of dude that not a lot of people are going to give him a shot in the NFL. And if he falls to the Jets or the Browns or the Giants, he's going to be an awful quarterback.
Yeah.
But if he falls to the Patriots and sits behind Brady for another 3 years, and then Brady does get to a point where he's clear he's deteriorating, I don't care if Brady wants it or not or how he treats him. the day that Brady starts declining, they'll get rid of Brady for the better guy.
Yeah, but do you honestly think, Will, that Tom Brady gives a flying fuck about the future of the Patriots post Tom Brady? Like, Tom Brady cares about his own ego and having.
No, but who cares what he treats? Like, who cares how he treats Lamar Jackson? Like, you don't have to treat Lamar Jackson well. Lamar Jackson's going to benefit by being in that locker room and watching what he does rep by rep. And I don't care if you like Lamar Jackson or not, like you as in Tom Brady. Like, if I'm the Patriots organization, I don't give a shit if you like him or not. I'm going to draft him because I think that in 3 years you might not be good enough, and I'm going to take you out if that needs to happen. I mean, that being said, obviously the turmoil is all going on with like this off season, and we're not certain if he's going to play or not. We're not sure if other players are going to play or not. I mean, Gronk's doing his normal off-season Gronk things, just confusing the hell out of us at every turn. You have a little more on that?
I mean, I guess before we get to that, to sort of close out the show in like a more fun way, like you obviously think Brady's coming back, and so do I, clearly, right?
Yeah, I mean, this season for sure.
And how do you feel about Gronkowski?
He'll be back this year.
Yeah, I agree. I just think both of them.
I mean, if they don't trade him, but yeah, I think he'll be back this year.
It's always been fascinating to me, man, and it's sort of something to explore about how you can sit here and like Tom Brady's got 5 rings, man, and there's still such a performance greed there, man. It's what I was talking about before with Popovich at the end. I think that that's really the reason that a lot of these situations never end perfectly. There are very few people who truly get to ride off into the sunset, and I believe that that's because these guys have so much greed and so much ego in terms of achievement, man. And we would have said the same thing about Peyton Manning had he not lucked into that Super Bowl because of that brilliant defense at the end. And it's just sort of, it will be interesting to sort of watch how the situation in New England develops, because everyone there wants to win so badly, and they may get to a point where they become so blinded by wanting to win that they end up sort of having a bunch of wrongs at the end, and it'll be interesting to see.
I think you see it the most in football. I agree with you, and it's really tough to see players do that in a sport, I think, where it deteriorates their body more, and you don't get to see players like Iguodala and Vince Carter and these guys who are at the end of their careers but are still making money and still contributing to teams.
Right. And so we sort of end where we started, which was my personal power rankings for favorite athletes. And I think you would agree that Rob Gronkowski's got to be pretty fucking high on everyone's list.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't like the dude.
I mean, I don't know if I like it. Like, it's again, dude, and I know that we love to talk about this together, but like, there are just people in our lives that exist, dude, who have so many unlikable qualities that it almost like makes them lovable. And I feel like he really sort of falls in, like, he more than a lot of other athletes, maybe the most of any athlete that I can think of, certainly right now, like, he really falls into that category.
And you love him to hate him.
Yeah, but I just
like you love to have him there, man. Like, it's, if he wasn't on the Patriots, it would almost be boring to hate the Patriots, because he gives them an aspect of, you are such a meathead, you are such a stereotypical alpha douchebag, and for some reason, man, like, God, you're just a funny guy. Like, just he's a funny guy. He does what he wants. He lives his life, and for some reason, you don't. When you think about that person and you're described to that person with your eyes closed, you hate it, and then you open your eyes and Gronk's there, and you're just like, huh, all right, that's not that bad.
Right. And so, speaking of Gronk meathead things, did you see that there's this horse, right, that's going to be running in the Kentucky Derby that Gronkowski just bought a stake in? And so he comes out in this article and he's pretty much just like, yeah, Cameron, I can't wait. Like, we're going to go down to Churchill Downs in May and hang with the horse, and I can't wait to ride it. And all I can think to myself, Will Mosley, is does Gronkowski honestly believe, like, is the reason that he got into the horse game because he thought he was going to be riding this animal?
Oh, I mean, that's 100% why he got into the horse game. But if you are one of the other owners of the horse, do you just trot out a fake horse, like a giant fucking Clydesdale that can actually hold him? And you're just like Gronk, this is our horse. Look at the one you bought. Isn't it so giant? And he's gonna be like, whoa, that's just as giant as I am. And he's gonna jump on the back and he's gonna be super happy. And then he's gonna be way fucked up by the time the race starts, and he's not even gonna notice that it's the same horse.
I think that I would actually be more interested in horse racing as a spectacle and sport if the jockeys were comically large and not comically small.
Oh, I don't really know. 100%.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't know. I guess, like, I totally understand the lot. Of course, I understand the logic behind it, dude. But in my own head, it's such a better sport if we have fucking Gronk, Dirk Nowitzki, guys like that out there riding these horses around, man. But
dude, oh my god, it would be so beautiful to see Shaq on the back of a horse, on the back of a Clydesdale, trying to turn the corner on Barkley. That would be electric coming down the last stretch. Just Barkley just swinging back at Shaq as he just punches him in the neck and then passes him and wins the championship while Barkley sits on the sideline like how it always happened.
We covered a lot today, Will Mosley, did we not?
We did. I feel like we got around to a lot and had some good things to say about them.
So anyway, this has been From the Nosebleeds / From the Nosebleeds. Or wait, no, excuse me. Fuck me. This has been From the Nosebleeds podcast / From the Nosebleeds sports podcast. My name is Andrew Levin. Thank goodness I was the only one wearing a beanie today. Order has been restored in the podcast universe. Will Mosley, anything to say before we jump out of here?
No, man. Let's just let's keep it up and we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you for listening, people. It's been a good time. We'll see you next week. Be good. Cool, man.
Dope. All right. Well, that stopped. Share. Let me start bouncing that real quick.